smartphone.
You ever been to Canton, Ohio, Chris?
I have not.
We're going to go there now.
Let's do it.
Nice enough to join us here. Outstanding reporter, NFL Network. He had a busy day in Canton yesterday. Steve Wyche joining us. Steve, thanks for your time. Fair to say you were very busy yesterday. You had a lot going on. It looks like you had a really good time.
And I love every minute of it, man. I mean, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is one of my favorite parts of the football calendar. Not only does it kick off the year, but, I'm fortunate enough, since 2014 to be coming up here for NFL Network. And I'm just surrounded by, all the greatness, the Hall of Famers, the players, the coaches. It is just an amazing bucket list type of weekend. And it's really special this year because with Joe Thomas going in from the Cleveland Browns, this whole region is kind of turned over on its head.
Now, we have to ask, did you have anything to do with the lights going out or the showers not working post-game?
I'm guilty. I did it.
Wow.
I did it. I was trying to get out of there. It was a long day. And, went and pulled the plug. Oh, man, how crazy was that?
Yeah. Insane. Yeah. What's it like to be in there, be in Canton for this weekend? Is there like a certain energy that's just really unmatched there? I mean, just all the greatness that's there for the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it really is because Canton, Ohio, it's basically a suburb of Akron, Ohio. And, all year long, the economy kind of builds up to this week. So it's huge for the region. It's huge for the people at the Pro Football Hall of Fame because this is their showcase. It's one of the greatest museums in the United States, and in terms of traffic and things like that, and keeping things current. So it's really just an exciting time on a lot of fronts. Again, it kicks off the NFL season. Roger Goodell was here. A lot of NFL dignitaries were here, and then you see people you've covered, a lot of great teammates of the guys who are going into this year's class. Several hundred, or at least 150 of the surviving members always return. So it's just this great mix of anticipation, celebration of honoring these guys going in, and just everybody getting ready to get the NFL season going.
Steve Wyche from NFL Network with us. And Steve, as you know, a lot of eyebrows in this area were raised when you on NFL Network this week said that Trey Lance, I think the quotas might be on shaky ground.
That was not me. That was not me.
It was not you.
I know nothing. Yeah, I don't. I mean, if I said he's on shaky ground, it might have been something where, hey, we're looking at all these guys. Is he on shaky ground? But I have not heard from anybody with the Niners, anybody else that he is on shaky ground. So yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, maybe you were. You know what I think? Honestly, I believe you were saying that that's something that you had been hearing from Bay Area media. Yes.
Yeah. I don't recall saying that Trey Lance is on shaky ground. I might be saying like, hey, could he be on shaky ground with all these reps we're going? They're going to Sam Darnold, and I forget the other guy they brought in. But
Brandon Allen.
Brandon Allen, maybe I said something to that, but not that, I've heard anything significantly that he's on shaky ground.
Gotcha.
How do you feel about the 49ers quarterback situation and how they're deciding to approach it? I mean, it's been pretty unconventional to see Brandon Allen getting as many reps as he has been getting in camp so far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's just because he's getting them again. I'm not there.
Right.
So I don't know if that's because he's getting more on the days when Brock Purdy is not throwing. If, they like some things that they've seen in him. Because, we had John Lynch on NFL Network yesterday who said that, hey, he's showing some things.
Yeah.
So, maybe they're putting him in situations to see, okay, let's see how he does it against this defense or something like that. It is intriguing because, most teams are giving the majority of the reps to the first and second team guys in practice because in games they give them to the backups. But the way they're kind of divvying things up with the Niners, it's hard to tell if they're doing that, again, not to put too much of a load on Brock Purdy's arm, or if they're doing that because they're trying to give everybody kind of a fair look to see how they want to stack the depth chart.
Steve Wyche with us, NFL Network. I believe, Steve, you did an interview with Kyle before they brought Brandon Allen in. So we're talking, a little bit ago. But I was wondering what you remember about that interview in terms of how Kyle talked about them handling this multiple quarterback situation when you've got some guys with some real ability competing for the 1, 2, and 3 job.
Yeah, so we did that interview at the spring league meetings, I believe, were in April, and that's when there's probably a lot more indecisiveness or unknown, I should say, about Brock Purdy's recovery.
Yeah,
but he was basically saying that Brock Purdy's healthy, he's the guy. Kind of the message that him and John Lynch have been carrying this whole time. But there was, again, with that uncertainty, there was still. But if Trey Lance, and Sam Darnold are here and they're good, they're going to get a serious look. The one thing that Kyle just said, the kind of the tipping scale was Brock Purdy has done it in games. Right? They're like, we love Trey Lance's ability, but we've only seen it in 2 games, and that was still kind of a non-telling body of work because it was such a short body of work before he got hurt. So the fact that Purdy, he was put in stressful situations. Think about when he came in that Miami game and they didn't miss a beat, and how he just continued to roll and in the playoffs and things like that. So, he was just telling me how they were just really sold on his ability to handle adverse situations without batting an eye. And, everything from that point on, it was kind of, hey, if Trey Lance steps up, maybe he's got an opportunity. But if he doesn't, we have Sam Darnold in the fray. So they really kind of buoyed themselves, which is smart because, frankly, the best position to be in as a Niners cornerback is a number 2 because it seems like the starter gets hurt every year.
Seems that way. There's a lot of talk around 49ers training camp about the window that this team has right now to maximize their championship window. Do you feel like at this moment in time it is really championship or bust for San Francisco?
No. There's not a ton of age. The only real senior type of players on this roster are Trent Williams and maybe George Kittle.
Right.
They've got a young team. And the fact that they have their quarterback is on a rookie deal and Brock Purdy, they've got time. They can pay the Fred Warners of the world. They can pay Deebo Samuels. They're in a situation because of that contract where I think that window is just another 3 or 4 years, unless, there's a feeling that, hey, if Kyle Shanahan doesn't win or has a losing record, then all of a sudden Jed York's going to pull the plug on him because they haven't gotten to the Super Bowl and won it. But I don't see this being a championship or bust year or 2 just based on the structure of their roster right now.
Steve, would you agree that for all the talk of Kyle Shanahan and his genius and his offensive schemes that are so advanced that the defensive line is still really the heart and soul of this 49er team?
Yes. 1,000%. Look, their offense is fantastic. And what Kyle does, when you talk to opposing defensive coordinators, is kind of next level, especially in the run game. But they're built around their defensive front. Their defensive line, with Bosa, getting Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead. They've got so much talent. They've got depth. And, of course, you back that up with Greenlaw and Warner on the next level. That's the strength of this team. And it seems like, regardless of who the defensive coordinator is, with Chris Cassera coaching that defensive line, they're going to be okay. Like, they don't have to go out and spend big in the secondary because those front 7 guys are going to create so much havoc, the guys on the back end, regardless of who they are. And I don't want to minimize that because they've got some great players back there. But those guys are going to be okay because that quarterback's going to have to deliver that ball a beat before he really wants to.
And before we let you go, sir, what about both the teams we saw last night? Are those maybe two playoff teams that we saw tangle last night in Canton?
Very well could be.
Yeah.
Look, with the Jets, it's like expectations of a Super Bowl because of Aaron Rodgers. You hear the impact he's having on the other players. Like, wow, they've got some guidance. They're seeing a guy who's got so much credibility and how hard he works. Okay, this is what it takes. So they've got extremely high expectations. And with Cleveland, they've got players. Right? Their talent. When you look at their roster, I was at their practice Tuesday. Like, yep, they've got the type of talent to make a deep playoff run. But can't even get out of their division. Right? Cincinnati's there. The Ravens are there. Pittsburgh is there. And then the AFC is a gauntlet. So there's really no margin for error. Deshaun Watson has got to be the player he was 2 or 3 years ago, or 3 years ago for sure, for them to really have that opportunity. But otherwise, man, they have got plenty of talent with Chubb and Amari Cooper, Zadarius Smith joining Myles Garrett on that defensive line for them to get to the playoffs and to make hay. So yeah, those to me are two absolutely potential playoff teams.
Steve, thanks for your time. We appreciate it, especially after such a busy day. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
Appreciate you guys.
Yep. Take care. Steve Wyche, NFL Network. And just so you know, just to clarify, he's I didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's right here, NFL.com, and he's NFL Media. So he works for NFL Media. Trey Lance might be on shaky grounds. NFL Network, Steve Wyche reports that 49ers quarterback Trey Lance, quote, might be on shaky ground, end quote.
There's also a Yahoo Sports article.
Yeah. So I understand what he did say it, but you can aggregate it, take a little out of context, perhaps.
Sure.
I believe, and we even played the quote. I think he said, "What I'm hearing is that some say he may be
in the media." Yeah, I think you clarified it correctly.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Well, he did, but he didn't make that statement.
Yes, and I understand why he would be like, I did not report that. I did not say that. Don't attribute that to me specifically.
His own network says
NFL.com.
Yeah. So I get it. Yeah,
that's where the confusion comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we got to the bottom of that when we yesterday looked at that article by Michael Silver, a great writer. And it sounds like some people were, hey, did you hear about this? I think maybe that's who he's talking about. The Bay Area media is saying. Yeah. I think that's what he's talking about. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's it also was Rich Eisen as well. Rich Eisen was talking about it as well, and I think and I don't think it's a ridiculous thing to have a conversation about. Absolutely, like it is a possible outcome of what happens. It's just I think everyone would acknowledge it's just not a very likely scenario. But to completely just say it's not going to happen. I mean, there is a chance that they could cut him, but I would be
Brendan Allen, no reps yesterday.
No reps. Yep.
Kyle Shanahan said, don't read anything into it. Well, what I'm reading into it is Brandon Allen, man, he's done a good job, but Brock's number one now. Kyle said yesterday, no doubt about it. He's the real deal. So it's Darnold, and it's going to be Trey Lance battling for the second spot. And Brandon Allen still has a shot, but outside shot.
It was interesting to see yesterday the Browns deciding, I can't remember who their backup is. Is it Jacoby Brissett, I think, behind? I can't remember who their backup is, but they decided to go with just straight third string Kellen Mond and DTR as their quarterbacks yesterday. I wonder what the 49ers are going to do for their Raiders preseason game. I wonder if they're going to run out Lance, Darnold, and Kyle Allen, or if they'll just go with maybe Allen and Darnold or something and not even show Trey Lance off.
Still to come this hour, if you guys are up for